Hello, my fellow Tropicans! The time for revolution has come. For too long has our corrupt government pandered to the capitalists and their wealth, whilst the rest of us sit out in the rain, living in our shacks, starving, only getting a meal a day. This has gone on for too long, and the Presidente does nothing to help us. It is clear that the only way that change will come is through revolution and bloodshed. I know many of you here today do not wish to harm your fellow Tropicans, but remember, we aren't just doing this for ourselves. We are doing this for a better tomorrow, a future for our children, a future where we can live in a society of equality, and we aren't ruled over by an elite few who hold all the money. The time for revolution is at hand. We will be condemned by the government as traitors, as rebels. We will be called anarchists. But no, we are the enlightened ones. We are the revolutionaries. We are the communists. We shall rise, and we shall create a utopia that everyone shall feel included in, and everyone shall live a grand life in a nice, modest house with a family and good food on the table, and even access to medicine. This is the communist ideology, and we shall use it in our government, and we must show them its power by force. So now, Tropicans, we march! We march on the palace! We shall overthrow the Presidente once and for all and end his corruptive rule. Thank you for choosing me to lead this revolution into our utopian tomorrow. Now, come with me, brothers, for we march on the capital! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your El Presidente speaking, and welcome to Tropico 4 with the Modern Times expansion pack. Loving the music. Aw, yeah. So, for those of you who have never heard of Tropico, I like to call it Sim Cuba. Basically SimCity, except you rule over Cuba, but not Cuba. You rule over a questionably Cuban island-like thing. Let's call it a nondescript Caribbean island that's very rich in tobacco, sugars for spiced rums, and coffee. Sound familiar? Yeah, I know. Alright, well. So, let's just get down to it. Let's play a game. This is going to be the sandbox Let's Play, where I'm going to be doing, I guess, a grand game from start to finish, forward. 90% of politicians give the other 10% a bad reputation. Henry A. Kissinger. One of the great things about this game is the loading screens all have quotes from famous political figures during the time frame of this game, which is, of course, the Cold War to modern times with the new expansion pack. So one of the things I'll actually have to be doing is balancing relations between the US and the USSR. So I've already, set up the thing. Most of the time the maps are like not maps, the quotes are too quick for me to be able to read when I'm generating maps, so if you want to go see whatever the hell Martin Luther King said, you can go back and just pause the video. Alright? And you can read it there. It's in 720p, you should easily be able to read it. So anyway, I've just randomly generated a map based on simple settings. A large island with lots of mountains, lots of mineral deposits, and lots of vegetation. Difficulty is understandable, but whatever. I don't really worry too much about what the difficulty says. The mineral deposits is pretty pointless. Like, I could just easily turn this off. because I'm probably never going to use them. And elevation, although technically makes it harder, it doesn't really. It doesn't matter, is what I'm saying. Like, this is the island. We have a volcano on it, so we'll have to be careful of that erupting. And we have vast swaths of heightened land. A lowland over here. Alright, so here are the game's settings. Political stability. Impacts rebel attacks, coups, uprising, protests, subversive elements, and foreign invasions. So, as you can guess, the game is a bit of a political balance. You're primarily going to be concerned with the economy, and, you know, secondarily with the stability. I'm with, like, you know, fighting off other threats, such as rebels, and keeping your people happy. Combine that with the economy, and you pretty much have the game. So, political stability I've set to be very dangerous. And, you know, that means that I'll have to deal with much more rebels, coup attempts, etc., etc. I've set the world economy to be the best it can, because that's, you know, generally I don't care much for the foreign aid boost. It's more so the commodity prices modifier that's really good. Because I found, like, if you set it too low, and then, you know, a recession or whatever hits, and all the commodities go down in prices, and you just can't make any money. Really hard. Like, I see recessions more so as... there's also a depression thing, and in, you know, bad set of events, it becomes hell. Especially if you have low political stability. Because then, you know, if you have to cut back on, say, wages, you know, meet the quotas, then people are going to get uppity, and you're going to have problems. So, tourism, to counteract that, I'm setting to the minimum. So, you know, it'll be much harder for me to get tourists. I feel like that's really worded weirdly. Tourism difficulty modifier minus 25%. If you check the difficulty in the bottom right, you'll notice that having it this way, although it's worded as if those would make getting tourists easier, it decreases or increases the difficulty, so I just kind of trust this down here to tell me that's less tourists, especially how all the other sliders are stacked. It's kind of weird. Game length defines the maximum duration of El Presidente's term in office. So 1950 to 2000. Simple enough. The number of starting citizens, and the number of random events. Here's the thing. There are no good random events. It's basically, they could change that to disasters and adjust the frequency of disasters. So while I'll have them, I don't want a freaking, you know, hurricane hitting my island every other year. That can make things really rough. So we'll also be having a prominent faction of the communists, and that just for awesomeness. I'm turning free elections off. I usually play with it on, because I've never lost an election in my life, ever. I'm going to be playing this game without elections, though. Like, I'm not going to hold any elections. A faraway place, I believe, really is what it means is you're in, like, the Philippines or something. Like an island out there in the middle of the Philippines. What it does is it reduces tourism and risk of U.S. invasion. There we go. Immigrants out, I'm keeping off, is no free immigrants, which you need to play the game. Like, I don't get how anyone plays that on. Rebel yell. Rebelling is a proud tradition of your people. They are quick to take arms and fight against your regime. Some self-explanatory. And God mode. Do I really need to explain what that is? No, good. Modern times is, do you want to have the expansion pack? And I do. You can play as a like preset person. We have many famous people such as Fidel Castro and Che Guevara, Augusto Pinochet. You know, many people. But I'm going to be playing as my own El Presidente, who I have pre-made for this. This is my outfit, not bad. I kind of modeled him after me. I really don't know if I like the hairstyle, though. Ponytail, hell no. Gray, eh. Balding, no. White, blonde. Yeah, I guess we'll have to go with that. There aren't many hairstyles in this game, but it doesn't really matter since you're a tiny-ass little avatar. Who cares? I don't know, there aren't enough good beards. I guess I might be able to get a mustache. And, alright, well, let's just take it. Anyway, here's what actually matters, which is my President, or El Presidente's stats, which are based on a series of traits, and his background and his rise to power. Let's start at the top here, background. I have chosen to be a leftist author. However, you can't have a communist rebellion, apparently. Neat. Your fervent utopian writings gave communist movement the perfect excuse to create a dystopian society, and all you wanted was to make the world a better place. But you already know what people say about good intentions. That's kind of me-ish. Like, I actually have a half-written book about communism sitting around right now that I really should probably get around to finishing. It's actually about socialism. But Karl Marx's original idea of communism before Vladimir Lenin came along. But yeah, here's what it does for me, which is plus 10 communist faction respect, 15 intellectual faction respect, and 20% faster education and skill training. Like there's 22 different ones. I think there's actually some DLC that adds more that I don't have. My rise to power, there's 14 different ones. I'm going with Communist Rebellion. You believe in exporting revolution to every nation in need of liberation from foreign oppressors. That's why you stage a coup to overthrow the rotten capitalist government on Tropico. Power to the people. Low democratic expectations just means if I don't fulfill election promises, people go, eh. Plus 10 communist faction respect. Plus 25 USSR relations. And plus 10% farmers production. I have 3 traits: charismatic, incorruptible, and scholarly. Scholarly. There's something I don't even know how to pronounce that. I am actually charismatic, as you know. The people who are subscribed to me and watching this, if you're not subscribed to me, you are getting sleepy. You will press the subscribe button and the like button. See, that's how charismatic I am. You know it. So, you know, kind of modeled after me. Charismatic. I'm incorruptible in real life too. Like, you should don't anyone ever try and bribe me. It does not end well, and blackmail also not a good idea. I just stand up, take the bullet. I don't let people get away with blackmail. And you know, I'm very good in that way. Well, good is questionable. And scholarly, well, I am, you know, studying right now, and I consider myself very well read in many topics, including, you know, history, politics, anything to do with technologies. So I consider myself scholarly. One thing I'm not very good with is languages. So yeah, I get plus 2 all Tropicans. It says factions respect, but it really just means all Tropicans that way. So basically plus 2 respect from everyone, and these level up as you play with these traits. Like, if I do well in the game with the traits, then they go up. So currently the ones I have are level 2 because I did like a quick little tutorial mission just so I remembered how to freak to play this game. I've kind of let it sit on the shelves for a while. Only just got it because I heard of Modern World, which has been out for apparently several months and I had no idea. And Scholarly. 15% faster education and skill training. And yeah, you can see what I get at the next level. But yeah, if you guys wanted to go back and read the stuff, actually everything here is pretty satirical and funny. Let's see. I know there's one that's really funny. Yeah. Communism is the only way. Capitalism is also the only way. Most people have problems accepting conflicting viewpoints in their mental world. Not you. With 8 different personas living inside your head, you have bigger problems, like thinking of a way to charge them rent. You get a bunch of relations with a bunch of different people. We're not going to actually go with that, but you get the point. The game is a very satirical game. And, you know, it's going to joke about capitalism and communism and the Cold War and that. Insurrection is an art. Like all arts, it has its own laws. Leon Trotsky. I'll just pause the game right out of the bat. So this is the interface. For those of you who couldn't guess. So here we have a port. We have our city, I guess. I'm hesitant to call it that, but, you know. We've got a Chichen Itza style ruins up here. I believe there's also something called a colonial fort. But we do not appear to have one of those on this island. Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna have to get to work. So we've now taken power, and you can see my cash here, budget, my population, my happiness. I'm gonna go into some stuff as we play, but I want to get set up a little first. Alright. So roads require, I was gonna say roads require buildings, but what I mean is, of course, buildings require road connections. Well, they don't require them, but I'll give you a hint. They so desperately help. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, let's set this up. So this road get down to the coast, and have that intersect there. That's fine. Alright, so we need to, you know, gather roads up together. Let's see. So in order to produce money, as it were, we need farms. They also produce, you can choose many different crops. Apparently I can't speak today. Corn, for example, and bananas and papayas and pineapples. These are food crops that your people can eat. If you have extra, you just export them, but banana doesn't grow there. Papaya, no. Pineapple, nothing apparently grows here. Actually, sugar's not terrible. Huh. The reason I chose an island with lots of elevation is because look at all the green on coffee. I'm a freaking caffeine addict. And believe me when I say I'm making a coffee republic. But yeah, if nothing can grow here, this is where I'm going to probably put residential stuff. Nothing can probably go there either. One of the things I prefer to do is fisherman wharfs. I find them to be a little more reliable in terms of food. And besides, I've already got a couple of corn farms, so food is okay. Sometimes placing them's a little tricky. And we'll make a coastal road here. So I place a third wharf. There we go. Alright, coastal road now. Hold shift, freeform place. It's freaking auto-locking me to there. Of course I can't do that because the building's in the way. Thanks, freaking douchebag game. Guess that'll have to do. There. Set up the coastal road pretty nicely. We have construction workers here. Who will build stuff. We also have Teamster's office. Teamsters are logistics. They ensure things go from one place to another. For example, they'll ensure that the fish get to the markets to go to the people, and the excess fish get to the docks. I'm also going to remove the export limit, or the import limit, sorry. If I need to import stuff, I'll import it. I don't really want it, you know, don't really want it. move it anywhere. But something else I'm going to be doing immediately is free housing. So, free housing. Food for the people. You know, ensures people get enough. Both very communist. Doubles the food consumption, so. Something else is social security. So those are 3 things I'm going to be doing right off the bat. Like, very socialist, communist oriented, as you can tell. Alright, but let's get the timer started and get things rolling. So here we can see the date. Also, this is a timeline, which is a new feature. 1951 to 53, the price of military buildings is halved. Interesting. 55 to 57, the price of tobacco is increased. 56 to 59, we have a financial crisis. 61 to 64, double U.S. foreign aid. So there's only a certain number of those timeline events, but they're based on historical ones, and there's like a set different ones. I mean, there's different. I don't really know because that's new to the expansion pack, but I know that there's like, what do you call it? I know that there's other ones that I just haven't, that aren't on there, and would be on occasion in other games. Because I've kind of like done some reading on the expansion pack and stuff. This is my first actual game of it, though. Alright, so some other stuff I'm going to need are government buildings. I'm going to be needing a ministry, but do I really want to build one right away? Let me get housing sooner. We'll build it right next to the palace, yeah. The palace, of course, being my main structure. Alright, so we've got a fisherman's wharf already built up. They're going to be producing fish. Alright, so let's go to infrastructure, some road again. No, I fail. There we are. So yeah, we'll have the ministry here. I'm going to be going over something too. In addition to how I'm going to be playing this, we are going to be holding, let's call it elections, because you are my loyal Tropicans, whom I'm sure will be much well so appointed to my council of ministers. So here's how it's going to work. I can rename people. See? So, well, I'm not going to rename him now. I don't really care to. Here's how this works. You guys, in the comments below, are going to get to leave election speeches. And for a specific council position, in this case we have economy, education, foreign affairs, interior, and defense. The winners become my ministers. I'll rename you guys and you'll be my ministers. Elections will happen pretty much de facto as needed, you know. Depending when I decide to replace ministers, or they happen to die, or happen to be murdered under mysterious circumstances. And you guys will get some special powers that I'll be revealing later to help influence my campaign. But, something I immediately need is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, without question. Yes, we need a college graduate. Bad news is that freighter just left, and freighters bring in or export stuff, and I'm gonna need that. Ooh, wow, we got a lot of financial aid overall. Damn. Almost makes me consider wanting to start building housing right away. People asking why don't I? Apartment blocks are $5,000 a piece, which is ridiculously expensive. Yeah, we'll just buy the blueprints for them. If I perform a foreign affairs edict, USSR development aid grants a permanent 50% discount to tenements and apartments. The US one gives, you know, 50% discount for power plants and airports. I'll be getting the US one eventually too, don't get me wrong, but, you know, step one is housing. Housing is important.
Serious fracas in front of the ministry building. A According to early reports, a fight has started between the minister wannabes.
Judging by the number of applications we received, this means that Tropico is officially in a state of civil war.
The game's a little satirical like that. Of course, if you guys didn't understand that joke, then... Yeah. Alright, so I now have a Foreign Affairs Minister, that's perfect. I can now get USSR development aid. Yep, alright. One-time investment save us a lot of pesos. Indeed. And of course, now apartment blocks are only 2,500 apiece. That's actually much better. And so now I'm not being totally gypped. Damn, these roads aren't lined up with how I can rotate buildings. Grr. OCD kicking in. Ugh. I guess I have no choice, though. Let's try and make it look decent, at least. I'm not gonna worry, I guess, about, you know, I don't know. That's all I can build on my current budget. So yeah. Be warned, you may end up as a girl. So yeah, you can apply for any position you want. And, you know, give me an election speech. Why should you be my minister? So yeah, as these houses build, I have, you know, because I have free housing, El President today provides free housing for everyone. Rent 0, housing quality is 60, which is pretty good for this time. And, you know, this can hold up to 6 families, so it's pretty decent. It's up to 12 people. But let's see. What are we gonna be doing here? I don't know. Infrastructure. There's always stuff to do with that. Yeah, I can't even get close to power plants yet. But yeah, as these, you know, these finish, I'm gonna be starting to move people into these apartment blocks, which is very important. Because the housing quality affects their overall happiness. Happiness is a sum of all these factors, more or less. And as we look here, we got great food quality. Everything else is pretty much shit, though. And respect for me is good. People respect me. So I'm going to be trying to, like I said, we have a housing quality only 32%. Like, food, housing, and healthcare are the 3 things that I'm going to be working on the most. Speaking of which, one of the things I'm going to be getting right away is humanitarian aid, because it'll cover my medical for a little while, which is something that needs to happen.
The Nationalist Front is holding a competition in Tropico's newest sport, beating up foreign aid workers.
Wow.
All interested parties are to contact El Diablo by Sunday.
Jeez. Nationalists, obviously, by the way, do not like foreign aid. If that wasn't obvious enough by that statement.
A petition has arrived at the palace, insisting for a museum dedicated to your youth to be constructed immediately. I personally signed it 300 times, and counting.
No. The Loyalist faction wants me to build a childhood museum. To say the least, not a ghost of a chance. At least not anytime soon. I am, to be honest, far more concerned with, you know, economy-related things. So what I need to look at is this any good for growing coffee up here? Very good. Alright, so I'll start getting the road up there. And, yeah. Gotta be careful, the terrain's a little steep. I'll want to run it there, perfect. You see, these desert areas are literally areas that it's not going to grow very well on, so what I'm going to do is drop my farm right in the middle of these areas. But Calvin, why would you do that? You yourself just said they won't grow there. And I did. The reason for this is these farms should be growing coffee. Not corn. Coffee. The reason for this is because they plant crops around them. Of course, you know, like I said, we're growing coffee here, not food crops. We start with a couple corn farms, and especially because of all the fishing wharfs I've got, you know, it's fine. But yeah, they plant crops around.
Short on cash. What is your take, Penultimo?
I blame all Tropicans. They're hoarding their money instead of spending it.
Alright. I guess that's a reasonable enough thing. But you'll notice that they will plant fields in areas surrounding the farm, as opposed to on the farm. So they'll be planting fields here, you know, here, and all around there, but never actually on the farm themselves. So by doing that, I managed to do okay with that. Alright, so looks like this area is doing alright. Freighter just exported 6 grand, good. And that's only like, we haven't even gotten any income from these farms yet, like they haven't even started planting. So that's just actually off of like spare food commodity that I have right now. Which, you know, I was talking about before. No, that's a tenement. I don't want that. I want apartment blocks. So yeah, we've got a couple of nice good old coffee farms now that are going to start working. You can see all the workers kind of walking there. I think I needed to get a couple garages around here so we can start using cars. But I don't really have the money for that. But yeah, I think this is going to have to do it for this episode. So we've actually started. We're, you know, coming up on 1953. Got to lead through the Cold War. And, you know, population happiness is low. But we're working on that. Uh-oh, we have rebels now. Rebels are a problem because they're the people who are going to try and overthrow me. We have 81 citizens. Let's go to the people. Overview, I guess. I don't know, where can I see rebels? Factions? Threat level low. Number of rebels 1. We have 4 soldiers, so there's, you know, no chance of anything happening there, at least for now. There's a low threat from the US. And a low rebel threat, sorry. And here we can see the different factions. Everyone is a part of factions. That's the thing. Everyone, you know, is a part of factions. Like, there's 35 faction supporters. 11, 8, 17, 21, 8, 18, 10. You know, the communists are huge. That's because they're the most prominent faction, as I said before. I like saying the communists as the predominant faction, because they're the ones...
I was going to show you some charts, Presidente, but I was robbed on my way here and the criminals took everything.
There's no denying it. When even our charts are not safe. We have a problem if it's time to do something about crime safety. Yeah, we don't have any cops, so... So we just got a bit of foreign aid. That's always good. That'll help cover things. At least until... There we go, and that's the ship bringing additional food. I don't even think that these crops haven't even done a grow cycle yet, so... Again, we've earned a fair bit of cash just off our food crop. So when this stuff starts coming in, we're going to be doing real good. So, but I digress. That's enough for the episode. We're now, you know, in 1953. So, I'm going to be trying to establish a fairly nice communist regime here. And I do have to be cautious with this volcano here. But we'll see. So, until next time, this is El Presidente Kelvin signing off.